Hi, welcome. Thank you for being here. Let's do a reading. And first, I was like sitting here feeling into just the feels, and I thought, oh my God, I have not touched our archetypes deck in so long. I've missed it. It's one of my all-time favorites. It's by Kim Krans, who does the Wild Unknown Tarot. This is the Wild Unknown archetypes, and I used to use them way back when, in the beginning of my tarot practice. I use them a lot, and let's just see what the overall energy is coming in today for us to take a look at. What energy can we tap into today? What archetypal energy? Ooh, okay. I'm gonna cry. The poet. I'm so gonna cry because this has been on my heart a lot lately, for years. Ever since I was in like late elementary school, whenever I was like, oh my God, poetry, like when you learn about it in school. And ever since then, and especially through middle school, I would write poetry and during all the angsty years, like I have all the feelings. And high school, and then took classes and workshops my whole adult life in different cities where I lived, just to stay tapped into that community, and finding different university level teachers, creative writing classes, and it's been a part of my life so long. And I always think poetically, like when I'm having like thoughts, like when I hear a phrase that wasn't meant to be poetic, and I'm like, oh, like I heard so lately it's been on fire, and I keep thinking, like, if I'll go through periods of writer's block periods, or creatively stifled periods, and then explosive periods. I feel like I'm entering into an explosive period. It's hard to pinpoint why I feel that way, other than like those moments of what I hear being very like everything could be put in a poem. In the way, like yesterday, I took a walk. Oh my Lord, I swear I stopped on the path, and it was a beautiful nature walk kind of thing, and I stopped on the path next to this pond, and it was afternoon sunlight, late afternoon, and there was a breeze, and oh my God, the water, it was like diamond sparkles, just like diamond shimmers on the water, like so diamondy. I don't even know how else to describe it. That's not very poetic of me, is it? It's like so and then it was beautiful, the way like that doesn't even truly exist, is what I was thinking. Like the way that the light created that. It's not even an experience. It just created that on the water, but it wasn't just the light. It was the wind, and it wasn't just the wind and the light together. It was my perspective. Like that show was only happening for me, right? Because if I'd been at a different perspective, a different angle, it would have been a different light show or none at all. And I was just like, what? First of all, it's beautiful just to look at. And then when you think about all these different elements came together to create that for this direct perspective, this singular, unique, I was the only one around at this angle and latitude, longitude, whatever, to that area on the lake, with that angle of the sun and that direction of the breeze. And as the breeze picked up, the diamonds went crazy because it was the wind on the surface of the water, and the water, the way the waves kicked up, and the wind, it was just like, I'm going to cry. And I sat there with like water streaming, just like, what is happening? And you know what? It's not a tangible thing that you can hold and touch, and you can't touch the sparkles, right? It was sun, wind, water, perspective, and it was so ephemeral. It didn't even exist. And so that, my friends, I'm like, I gotta write a poem about this. And then I'm like, words won't do it justice. And then that's my job as the poet, isn't it? To reach into your guts and like squish them around a little. So anyway, that's why I'm just gonna cry. Like, I also have been thinking, like, if I don't freaking create, if I don't let this explosion erupt through me, I have to do that before I die. Do you ever feel like there's something you have to do before you die? And for me, it's somehow blowing all this poetry into the world in some form. I don't know what form. And I've been playing with like setting free the idea, the expectation that it has to be in the form of a chapbook or a book or what, or anything, or online or whatever. Like, okay, just let it come through. And so I've been playing with the idea of just like maybe voice recording, because lately I feel like I get stifled the moment I pick up a pen, the moment I sit down at the computer. It just like slows everything down. And I thought maybe I should pick up a recorder and then in the editing process pull out the nuggets and make a pancake out of it, whatever. So anyway, that's why this freaking spoke to me the moment I pulled it. So you guys can leave. This reading's for me. Just kidding. So the poet, number 7, which is a great number, by the way. It's odd. I love odd numbers. The poet, the artist, the witness, the truth teller. Holy shite. You guys watch this. This is what I got at my church earlier this year. Whoop. There it is. Witness. What? I just literally, you know, it's funny. I was like in this space getting all of my crafts and arts and stuff out and like playing and drawing and painting, watercoloring, and then using markers and all kinds of mixed media tools. And I was cutting out things for collage. I had client cancellations today, so it opened up like, yay, creativity, you know. So I got all the fun stuff out, and I was like, let me reconnect with like what I like, what speaks to me, what feels just like good doing it without any expectation of how it's going to look. And so that was fun. And in the process of jiggling around my art supplies, a little tiny mirror fell over that I love. It was like like a thrift store kind of thing. I forget where I got it. No, somebody gave it to me. I'm sorry. Somebody gave it to me, which was beautiful. And it has this ornate, like heavy metal frame. And so I just sit it up on my shelf. And this was sitting right next to it, propped up against it. Well, the mirror fell over and this went flying, and I picked it up and I'm like, oh yeah, witness. This word means a lot to me. To witness, to be a witness for other people, my clients, my friends, family, whatever. And how we can witness each other, and how there's the witness, like to that experience yesterday on the walk. I was just like witnessing this dance. And you know how a dance is not something you can touch. It is the flow, it is movement, it is, you can't touch a dance. You can perform the dance, but the dance, you just can't touch it. You can just witness it. And so like in this world where we have to touch and hold and have stuff, it's like, it feels so gross, like so wrong, doesn't it? To have things, to hold on. It's like to hold on to a moment when everything is so impermanent. It's beautiful. And so what we can do is just witness. So anyway, Okay, so let me start over. The artist, the witness, the truth teller. The poet's work is to feel immensely and not be afraid. They must seek out truth in the darkest corners of the world and carry it back for all to see. This unique capacity resides within us all, regardless of our relationship to creativity. When the poet energy is present, there is a call for deep honesty and reflection. Dude, I just told you about the mirror. Reflection and witness and poet. Oh my God. For seeing the big picture within the little one. The poet rides effortlessly between the personal and the universal. Because what is personal is universal, and what is universal is personal. It's like Poetry 101. It's possible that others may not seem to listen or care about the poet's work, but do not be discouraged. The words of the poet ring true for centuries to come, soothing the wounds of despair and violence that captivate our world. The poet's work is never finished. Find your voice and trust that the wind will carry it. Dudes, the wind will carry it. I just told you that story about the wind. I know you can make meaning out of anything and everything can be synchronicity, but I'm telling you, dudes, all that story, witness, mirror, reflection, poetry. Are you feeling the creative urge as we get into autumn and we're starting to hunker down and put on warm clothes and be with ourselves and nurture and warm ourselves and be tender with ourselves and I think about traditional Chinese medicine, how all the seasons and elements, and they all have personality traits and like energies about them, and summer is vibrant and joyful and do, go, and now we're kind of like, oh, let's get a little quieter, let's be with ourselves, let's tap into our creation energy. I just want to say that versus creativity, because everything comes with baggage, doesn't it? When I talked about like writer's block, it's like the moment you say creativity, sometimes it's people might be like, I don't have it. We keep it separate because it's like we have ideas like, oh, we look at art, we listen to poetry, we watch movies, all the art forms, and we think, man, that's amazing. I could never do anything like that, so I'm not going to try, And I think about how it's not about the outcome, like letting go of expectation about how something's going to look might be what shows up in our reading today. It's, to me, I have to remind myself that when I feel that creative drive, it's just about the doing it, immersing myself in the process of getting out the things and playing and getting messy and because there's something about that just feels so darn good without, it doesn't have to look like anything. It doesn't have to amount to anything. And sometimes I just throw it all away when I'm done, or it's sitting in a pile back there. So anyway, yeah, I also went to Hobby Lobby today, and that's usually a disaster for my pocketbook. People still say pocketbook. Okay. So anyway, I reined it in though. I didn't go crazy. I just got what I needed and got out. So the poet, I didn't even read all the words. I'm sorry. I got too excited. So the other words here are when light, meaning like in its light, there's light and dark. So when light, clairvoyant, wise, timeless. When dark, harmful words, sharp tongue, thwarted creativity. Not in flow. Go deeper. Spend 1 hour reading poetry, then one more, and then one more. It's likely there is a poem or poet that was meaningful to you at a young age. Revisit and reread it now. Be open to its message. Well, Shel Silverstein comes to mind. Man, he brought out the weirdness in me when I was a kid. I just loved A Light in the Attic. Lighthouse in the Attic. Light in the Attic. And Where the Sidewalk Ends and all the things. And the weirder, the better. I was just like, why am I so weird? I love it. Like there's one called The Skin Stealer, where this, he writes about how this character goes around and steals people's skin and like puts it on them and walks around in it. Like, dude, they think you're a children's poet, but man, could explain a lot about me. I loved his stuff. The poet is related to the shaman and the bridge. Bridges. These archetypes hover in the meeting place between the everyday and the sacred. I think about bridges a lot lately. So anyway, that was the rest of what I forgot to read. Okay, I've got to be done in a half hour. I'm going to try to go to a Pilates class. Wish me luck. My little muscles need it. Okay, I kind of, you know what? Hold on. Yeah, this is the new deck I got called Tarot of Mystical Moments. This is only the second time I'm using it. The first one was less than a week ago when I did a reading, and I want to get to know it better. So we're going to do a short little baby spread since I talk a lot and I should have already been drawing cards by now. The High Priestess and the Two of Wands. Okay. Well, we're going to hold there for a moment. Let me get one from the bottom of the deck. The Three of Cups. Okay. The High Priestess is all like full-on intuition. This card is like the most intuition-based card in the whole deck. It's about you tapping into that intuitive, flowy state. It's like it's beyond the physical realm. Okay, so it's, and this even has a water and a ship element. So to me, I think about being in flow and everything that, like all the feelings. It's not like emotional. This feels like maybe tapping into what you like that feeling of what I said. If I die before I like all of this, I will be disappointed. I won't. I'll be dead. But maybe it doesn't matter. But anyway, this is about tapping into your intuition and that getting into that flow state where creativity exists and can be birthed from. The challenge part of that with the Two of Wands is kind of, it almost feels like a self-stifling, where the Two of Wands is about getting uncomfortable. Something's calling you. Something is calling you out of the comfort zone. And that's why I cracked up, because like this whole like thwarted creativity is the Two of Wands. So this represents the light aspect where it says clairvoyant. Remember, that was the light part of this, clairvoyance. This was the upright. This is the challenge card, which is like that, just like I'm in my safe place and I don't feel comfortable going outside of it. But something's calling you. So this feels like the dark side of the poet, which is the thwarted creativity, but it's self-thwarting. It's like, no, and it may not be like, no, I don't want to. It's just like talking down to ourselves, like, no, what's the point? And it's not good enough. And it's supposed to look like that. And it will never look like that. Whatever your version of that self-talk is, if you have it. And then I wanted to pull like a card from the bottom to get some more clarification here for the whole reading. There's the Three of Cups is about this celebration. And so that's what I like to think of with creativity. It's like, it doesn't have to be this scary, like, what's the point of doing it if I can't be proud and show it off sort of thing. No, the mere act is a celebratory act of like bringing the insides to the outsides, not in a gruesome way. But that the clairvoyance, the intuition, that tapping into the place where all that lives is like beyond the mental, beyond the cognitive, right? This is the editor, this is the ego, this is the critic, this is the stifler that gets in the way. And the High Priestess is about, like, clairvoyant people can shut that off. They just go, they shut it off for a moment. And then what emerges is what's innate within us. It is clairvoyance, it's knowing, it's intuition, it's creativity, it's all of that whatever you want to call it. Words are kind of dumb sometimes, and I'm saying that as somebody who likes to play poet once in a while, and I love words. But to label something, even as intuition, it comes with a lot of baggage. So it's like, what is that? To me, it's like the intangible quality of flow within us. That flow state of just like the shackles come off, the self-critic is silenced, and then it's like whoosh, the eruption can happen. Okay, so what does that mean? You know what? I'm going to go with the Wild Unknown Tarot that the same artist created. She is such an artist, and she does the way she does this artwork is a mix, because I read about it, is a mix of collage and painting and mixed media. It's beautiful, and it took her ages to create these, and I can't even imagine. I saw her, I follow her Instagram. She has the big versions, like these are big renderings of like her art, and to squish it down to this in a flat way, and it's still so beautiful. Can you imagine what the original looked like? They are beautiful. If you go on her Instagram, you can maybe get a sense of it. It's still 2D coming through the screen, but man, it's beautiful. She is a true creative. So what do I want to know? I kind of want to know, how do we tap into that flow state more? How do we silence the critic? What are some tips for like getting into it? What might be standing in our way? I'm laughing because as I said, what's standing in our way? My cards stopped shuffling. We have the Five of Cups. The Knight of Wands. It says Son of Wands, but it's the same thing as the Knight of Wands. And the Eight of Pentacles. So what I think about here, the Five of Cups is what's getting in the way is we keep focused, like, well, this is like the critic being front and center, where we're just focused on the bad instead of all the good. We can't flow because cups are all water and emotion. So what is keeping us emotionally stunted? It feels like to be creative, to let it flow, is to feel deeply. Like this, the poet, it says that the poet feels immensely. Well, how can we stop tamping down the flow of our water, our emotional state? So where do you feel that in your life? Where do you feel like emotionally stunted? Sometimes it might mean, I'm just going to riff on my own. Like if I can't voice like how I feel, if I can't have a deep conversation, or voice from the depths, I feel like I get stunted. So whether that's speaking with somebody, writing it down, creating a video, where I feel like I just need to let it, whatever's in here, emerge. If I don't have a certain amount of that over a period of time, I feel like it quiets, the waters become still, and then I feel like a little blah, it feels like the more I let it out, the more it can flow. It's like opening a dam, right? The waters keep flowing, but when we close the dam, if something is really silencing the waters, it's hard to get them stirred up again, right? It feels hard. It may not be hard. It's all like a mental game. But sometimes it might be an practice of gratitude to shift that perspective, because the fives are all about shifting perspective. And this particular five is about shifting the perspective from I'm just focused on lack and I need to focus on what I already have. Like, how can I be grateful for what is here versus where I see I'm lacking or I've been done wrong or whatever it is for you. So it's a perspective shift. And how do you, the word perspective is still sounding weird to me. Maybe that's not the right word. Oh my God. Usually that misophonia, is it misophonia where a word just like starts sounding wrong? Usually it's like only a short period of time that it lasts for me. This one's like days, that word perspective. So that's interesting. So the Son of Wands, the Knight of Wands, is like an acting on that creative spark, because wands are like passion, fire, creativity, like and the knights are like action oriented. So what is one little baby step? So that's another thing I think about with creativity. And you know this is true for your own self. I feel like it's a universal thing. Talk about the specific being the universal and vice versa. Anytime, like, the anticipation of a thing, an event, whatever, is way worse than actually setting out and doing the thing, right? Our anticipation is all like, and that's all up here. We're thinking about this future thing is always worse than when it actually comes about and we move through it. And it was like, oh, that wasn't a big deal. Why did I work myself up? I feel like that's the same with creativity. It's like, where to start? What's it gonna look like? What am I gonna create? Ugh. And then we just go like binge watch something. So what is it for you? What is this? What's one baby step you could take? Because it's not about the big bang efforts with creativity. It's about just getting started. It's like opening the dam just a little bit so the waters can start flowing, right? It's not about like blowing up the dam and then that's going to feel good. No, just let it open a little bit with a baby step. Like if there's something you've been wanting to try, watch a YouTube video to get the inspo, as the kids say, or get your inspo photos for some creative thing you want to draw, create, build, paint, whatever form it takes. It could be dancing. It could, whatever creative expression, meaning, and the word creativity has a lot of baggage. So what does that mean to you? It could just mean having creative thoughts, like giving yourself a chunk of time. Like, okay, if I have to schedule it, I'm going to do that when I'm not tired at the end of the day, right? If it means waking up 10 minutes earlier and just saying, I'm going to have 10 minutes of quiet time with my coffee to just not think about logistics or practical matters. I'm just going to like stare out the window and like think about what ifs, right? Like whatever that little baby step is, possibilities versus actualities. And then we have the 8 of Pentacles, and I think that's the card of mastery. So this is so funny because it's like that perspective shift into like whatever stifling mode we're in to the opening mode, from lack into gratitude. There's that perspective shift, and then the baby step is the spark. And then the 8 of Pentacles is all about day in, day out baby steps toward that, which builds the mastery towards this skill you're building. And it's not about getting super skilled. I don't mean that by the word skill, like, oh, I've got to be the best, characterist or whatever. That's not even a word. But you know what I mean? Like, it's not about being skilled. It's about building mastery. And it could be that the mastery doesn't mean you are the master of it and the best, because that just, again, is stifles like this expectation that it has to be good. There's your air quote for the day. But it's about the day in, day out steps that get us over that hump. And this is what I'm working on, because it's hard for me to like do something day in, day out so that I build the skill, because I'm just like, let's do this for a while and that for a while. And that's, for me, I feel like it's okay as long as I keep coming back to the thing in a frequent enough manner so that I feel like, oh, I'm learning, I'm gaining momentum. And that's what this feels like. It's like perspective shift, baby step, momentum. It's funny how that laid out like that. we're going to clarify a little more. I'll use even different cards for this. You know what? Let's use our little owls. Look at this little eyeball up here. This is that other new deck I got while away. So let's see what, I don't know. I just feel like I want some more cards. What could we learn? Because this is pretty straightforward. Perspective shift, baby step, momentum, mastery. Let's end with something like, I don't know, I just want some beauty here, like some beautiful note to end on. Oh, well, that's great. 8 of Swords. Swords are usually not the most beautiful suit, but there's paradox with everything. There's Ace of Cups and the King of Pentacles. Aww. So right here in the center, the Ace of Cups. Something feels like this whole process isn't even about the creativity itself. It's not, again, not about the final outcome. Whatever this process is, from perspective shift, baby step, momentum, there's a heart opening happening. There's a flow that starts to happen. This is, I'll just say, heart opening. It's like tapping into, if this feels like the stifled emotion, going through this practice actually lets the heart open, and you like to feel those emotions deeply. It's like becoming untrapped. So the 8 of Swords is one of feeling trapped. This says there's an opening happening. You're no longer going to feel trapped. Where you felt like kind of bound up before, just going, I'm going to repeat it again. Perspective shift, baby step, momentum. Doesn't that ring true for you? It does for me. That whole baby step is the key. The perspective shift too, sometimes that's hard though. Like, how do you shift? And I feel like the gratitude thing is key. The gratitude means I'm going to just try to be happy with what is. Not this idea that I should be doing something, should be somewhere else, that something should be different than it is. That's why I think the flavor of perspective shift here is gratitude. I am so grateful for what is. And when we accept what is, so much can come from there, because we're like, the guards come, like the barriers come down. We become untrapped. We take off the blindfold. We remove the bindings, which is the 8 of Swords. That's what's happening here. See how this poor little owl is like out on a ice floe all on its own. So sad. And then once this starts happening, it's like we come at that, like that togetherness and celebration is here. The King of Pentacles is, it's like the 8. I always think about the progression of numbers. So when we get the same suit, like the 8 to the king is like now confident. So through that mastery period, you gain confidence. That's what the King of Pentacles is. Like, he's grounded, he's doing the work. It's not like he's all like, yay, you know, like we think sometimes the artist is eccentric and ungrounded. This is like, whatever you're doing can be just doing the steps day in, day out, and you're learning. I swear, like everything I try to go do, like with my sewing projects. If you saw me post on somewhere, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, about my sewing mishaps, I set out to create a shirt. I messed it up 1,000 times. I didn't even post all the mess ups I had. And then through each fix, I learned a new skill. Like, but it took, which was hard for me, it took my, like, to have persistence and a little bit of fun grit, but it was fun grit. Like, it took, like, and the old me might have just been, F it. But I was like, no, I treated everything as an opportunity. And I don't know if it must be my old age. I was not always that way. So for me, it was like persistence. And that to me is that 8 of Pentacles. And it really took me to a place of like, I had a finished product eventually that I will wear. Like, I'm proud of, as weird as it is, because I had to mishmash things together. But then I was like, man, I kind of like it. It looks like I meant to create it that way. Maybe it only looks that way to me. But I gained a confidence with some skills. And now when I sit down to my sewing machine, I don't feel like I'm recreating the wheel of like learning my machine and pulling out the manual each time. And I'm like, how do I do this again? It's like, no, after some repetition, I'm like, boom, 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 I'm ready to get to my ideas, versus like sometimes the overwhelming piece for me is like, how do I use these tools again? Like I feel like I can't do it like a kindergartner again, which might be a good thing. So anyway, all of that to say, the King of Pentacles is like, after gaining that momentum, there a confidence can emerge. And then it's like, you look back and you're like, whoa, where'd that come from? I'm actually more swift with the mechanics of this thing so that I can let the flow just come through that. Because sometimes, I'm just speaking for myself, like with all my hobbies and things I like to tinker with, if I let too much time lapse, then I'm like, how do I do that again? And then I feel like I've lost my creative spark because I've had to like re-engage with the mechanics. And it just like, kind of like my fire petered out through that process. And then it's like, okay, now the fire's here. My tools, I've got a handle on just enough where my fire won't go out. So I can put that fire to work in the creative act, right? Like I said, this reading was for me. Thank you for being here. But I love how this, like, we become unrestricted. Our heart is open. We gain confidence. It's the whole story of the creative pursuit, right? It's the whole story. So what is that for you? Let me know. Drop me a line. I got to go to Pilates and like hurt my muscles a little bit. I'm dedicated to showing up, even though right now I kind of either just want to finish working on that sewing project or do some more readings or whatever, but I'm going to do the Pilates because part of me wants to do that too. I haven't been to this class before, so we'll see what happens. I'll probably be really sore. Thanks again for being here. Bye.